Sam Logue here for Green Blood Boxing. Absolutely delighted to be joined by the butcher, Owen Duffy. Owen, it's good to see you, man. We didn't get to catch up after the fight in Alicante last week, so I wanted to kind of get you on the Zoom and have a little
No,
catch up.
thanks for getting me on, Sam.
No worries, man. No worries. I mean, look, let's kick it off straight away. You had a 4-round points victory last weekend in Alicante, Spain. Just talk me through it. You've obviously had a little bit of time to reflect on it. Have you watched the fight back? What
Yeah,
did you think about your performance?
yeah. No, I definitely think it's very important, regardless if you know, depend, regardless how well you think the fight went. I think it is very important to sit down, even with your coach, and go through like what went well, areas that didn't go as well, that maybe might need a bit of tweaking. Um, Checking in on your little habits. Do you have any bad habits? Do you know, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Um, Looking back in the fight, it definitely wasn't the fight that I had planned to
Okay.
happen. It was definitely a weird one. Like, it was, I was saying to people who were like, "Oh, how'd you find the fight?" I was like, I found that fight more a fight of mind games. If anything, I was like, right, your man lands up to the weigh-in, he's a half a stone overweight. He doesn't care, because he's like, he knows that I need to fight him.
Mm.
Which I didn't mind. I didn't mind. It wasn't like he was conditioned. He was fairly full looking, in fairness from it. But I didn't mind the overweight thing. Then, obviously, first fight in 2 years,
Mm.
is there an element of, do you still have it, or ring rust, they say, or whatever? Um, then obviously first one without my mom, family not being there. I was like, will that play a part? You've got all these little factors running through your head. So whenever I had, like, building up the whole way up to the fight, I was confident, very relaxed. Like, even backstage down in the basement getting ready, I was good. And when I hopped in the ring, I was like I was buzzing, but I was like, the nerves definitely did kick in, and I was definitely nervous in the first round. Well, the first round or two, anyway.
Yeah.
I was very cautious. I definitely felt a bit stiff in my not flowing with my shots. But then, like, you know, you're fighting a Spanish lad, Spanish referee, Spanish judges, whatever. You know, I didn't mind that at all, because I expected that anyways. But whenever your man started, like, grabbing me and tossed me around, like, obviously you're allowed to get away with so much of that, but
Mm.
your man was OTTing it, and next thing, the ref was pulling me. He was like, "Oh, keep your head up," or he's like, "Stop hitting him in the back of the head." And I was like, "This is just the beginning of it now." I goes, "They're literally out to do you, like." So I started being lifted, and me held me. I had to just stick my arms out dramatically and be like, "Listen, it's not me, it's not me." But
Yeah.
then next thing, to literally start the second round, I went to throw like an uppercut, and your man tried to turn me around, and I felt this spasm in my lower back, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to do my back in." I could feel it. I could see the ref, like, maybe trying to call it off, and I was like, "No, I'm grand, let's go, let's go." Next thing, the minute the ref said, "Go on, let's fight," your man didn't even try to box me. He just came running at me again and started tossing and throwing with me again. And I was like, he knows he's getting away with it, so
Yeah.
he's gonna just keep doing it. And then I, like, literally, it wasn't even the end of the second round. I was on the floor. I was just like, oh my god. I was like, I don't know. You could probably see it from where you were, but
Yeah.
where Leonard was recording a video, whenever I hit the deck, I just started laughing. I goes, what is going to happen next? This is absolutely nuts. Like.
Yeah.
I was like, the ref's trying to pull me on anything he can. I was like, a man knows he's getting away with tossing and turning. The man's not even, he won't even box me. But not even that. He was very clever. At the very beginning of round one, I was there, like, you go through the motions, 1-2s, and test them out, see what openings you can find.
Mm.
But then, like, I tried to draw him in. He came in and caught him straight away with a counter. And he knew straight away after that he would not come into me at all, because, technically he was very bad, and he knew that he had no footwork, so he knew that I would beat him on the footwork side of things. So the whole fight, he wouldn't come at me at all. And anytime he did come at me, it'd be 3s and 4s, and then it'd be just a tossing match in the middle.
Yeah.
So it was a very frustrating fight. Like, in fairness to him, in the very first round, he went to throw a counter left hook, and there was some power in that shot. Now, he missed me, thank God. Um, But I was like, this is all he's waiting for. I was like, he's trying to upset me, piss me out. Sorry, Stern, but he's trying to rev
Say
me up.
whatever
He's
you
trying
like,
to
my
wind
friend.
me up. Yeah, he's trying to make me lose the head.
Yeah.
And then, obviously he'd try his best to get me on the counter. So I was like, you know what? The best thing I can do, I hadn't fought in 2 years. And I was like, I am not losing this fight. I don't care
Yeah.
what I have to do. So I was like, literally keeping the cool as much as I could. And I said, you know what? There was definitely that element of like, although my fitness was through the roof, I was like, there's definitely that element of like, oh, jeez, am I going to fatigue before I get to round 4? So I was definitely trying to just do enough to get through the 3 rounds without losing a point or something as well. And then when it came into round 4, my coach in the corner was just like, "Oh, how are you feeling?" I was like, I'm dead on. I could do another couple of rounds, yeah. He was like, well, then leave everything, leave whatever's left in the tank in this round. So I knew like Spanish ref, Spanish corner, Spanish opponent. I was like, the rounds they're too close to be expected. Like if it was a neutral corner, I'd be winning every round. But I was like, I can't be doing this going into the last round.
Yeah.
So the bet went off, and I just said, right, let's go. So
empty the tank.
yeah, committed the win. I'm not super proud of the performance, but listen, at the end of the day, I did what I had to do to win the fight, and that was the main objective. And I'm delighted I got the 4 rounds. I'm delighted I didn't just finish after 1 round, because I definitely needed to get rid of that ring rust or whatever you want to call it,
Well, this is it.
And I definitely felt like it was,
Yeah, I mean, how much do you learn from that kind of fight? I mean, all things considered, as you just said there. I mean, you spoke an awful lot about the opponent there, but what do you take? I mean, even just the experience in itself, what do you learn from it? And then was there anything that you learned from your own performance? Was there anything that you thought, well, do you know what? He did that, but I actually could have done this. Or, do you know what? He was doing that and I did this well. Was there anything that you took specifically from your own performance?
Yeah, like, so literally what I got to learn was that I was like, the power of your own mind. You always hear like your own worst enemy is your own head. Like I literally, like I said, I downstairs in the basement was flowing. Like I was like snapping shots in the pads, and I just felt really good. Next thing I jumped in the ring, and then all these little things like, oh, you haven't fought in 2 years. All these things are just flowing through my head, and then before you know it, I'm like, well, not like a robot, but I'm stiff. I'm not flowing.
Yeah.
And then literally come into the last round, I was like, listen, enough's enough. Let's just box. Let's just go. And like I just let the shots go. And like there was a completely different boxer from round 4 to round 1.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. And I was like, the difference there was literally my own head. I just told myself something different. But then again, like, yeah, okay, there was that big element of my own head. But then I was trying to do whatever I could do to get to the end of the round 4 without losing a point or losing the head. So I definitely feel like there was a lot of factors. But like I was saying, how I felt like it was a fight of mind games. Like he was a very, very athletic. Like he was technically really bad, but you could tell he had a lot of experience because I catch him with a counter in the first round and he won't do it again. Making it that he's making it very hard for me to be able to box him. So anytime I did go into him myself, he just wanted to have a wrestling match. So he ended up drawing me into his game. So like he was a very, very clever opponent. It gave me the element of how important patience is and not to lose the head.
Yeah.
And like that was probably one of the best fights to have to learn patience, because like I was so frustrated that I couldn't get showcased anything that I learned in the last 2 years. I was like, this fight, like looking back at it, it was a terrible fight to look at, like technically boxing wise. But I was like, I literally couldn't showcase anything I learned in the last 2 years. It was just a battle of survival to round 4, and then I just went hell for leather, like But no, there's a lot of, I like everything. There's a lot of pros and a lot of further developments, things to learn from,
Yeah, and like you said, maybe just even having the fight, like you said, you were out for 2 years, which is massive, and psychologically plays its part as well, and has a big like toll on you. So obviously, like you said, coming in from 2 years out, it's maybe just the experience, just getting back in and actually having the fight is kind of in itself the kind of the learning experience. You know what I mean? Just getting back in there and getting under the lights again is kind of, maybe that's all you needed to do. Maybe that's what you take from that fight. You know what I mean?
So that's why the main goal was just get the win.
Exactly. the fight was obviously in Spain, which is a little bit different
Yeah.
than normal. You know, you have to travel. I wonder, like,
Yeah.
how was that experience for you fighting abroad for the? It was the first for your first time fighting abroad.
Yeah.
How was the experience? And
Well, I thought, yeah.
go ahead.
You know
Sorry.
what? Like, I tell you what, with the whole COVID thing as well, like it was like we flew over. We were landing over in plenty of time. The weigh-in wasn't until 6 o'clock. We were landing in Spain at I think it was like 1 o'clock. So we had 5 hours. It was only half an hour from the airport to the venue. So I was like, you know what? Like, look, if I need to lose weight, I've loads of time. You know, I'm underweight, so I can drink a little bit for a lap when I get there, and you know, if I really need, if things are bad, I can do a bit of a sauna. You know, so I'm all stress free. There's no stress needed. Next thing we land there at the airport, and obviously the PCR testing and all that kind of stuff. I flew over Friday morning, which I'll learn. I'll not do it next time. Flew over Friday for weigh-in on Friday, and I was flying back on Sunday. So you have to wait 24 hours to 30 hours for your results. So if I did, so this when we landed at the airport, we're like, listen, we need to do the PCR test now, so that we'll have our results by Saturday night, so we can fly home Sunday.
Yeah.
So next thing, like the minute we landed, like the PCR center's right in front of us. There was 4 people in front of us, and we were pretty much there for 4.5 hours. Like, we didn't leave the airport till 5:20, and
Jesus.
buried it down the road to make the weigh-ins on time. And then,
Wow.
like, there was a bit of me being like, right, you know the way they say that you can hold on to a bit of water retention when you're flying and stuff. So I was
Yeah.
thinking, like, did I put on weight? Am I overweight or am I underweight? You know, so there's the whole element of stress. And then obviously, you know, fully hydrated. So I got over there rushing, and I was like jumped on the trial scales. And thank God the fight was in Spain, because somehow I lost weight flying over. But I weighed in under 67.5. But I was just like, that whole element of stress and rushing, that's not for me at all. You know,
Yeah.
one thing I
Exactly.
learned is I'll fly over the day before the weigh-in and just chill out, relax, and have your own little system in the hotel for getting ready for the weigh-in next day, you know.
Definitely.
The whole PCR testing stuff and all that kind of crack, it's, look, it has to be done, but it wasn't enjoyable. Like,
No, definitely not.
uh,
Well, that's a
no,
story that I actually hadn't heard. There you go. So you had some experience of it. Wow,
that's
I wasn't aware of that one. Yeah, I mean, like that kind of stress leading up to the fight also doesn't help, right? I wonder if that had any. I mean, maybe it didn't have any bearing, but you don't want to be running the risk of
yeah,
kind of stressing yourself out just
I know,
before the fight,
I
and
know,
then because all that can kind of come into your head, can't it? It can just add little
yeah.
seeds of doubt, perhaps, which is, you know, you don't really want to have that at
But it's
all.
like that, like one stress leading into another stress, and this is meant to be a week of relaxing and giving the mind a break. And next thing, you're stressing getting there on time, get your PCR testing. Then literally, when we got to the front of the line, your ones there shouting like, "No, we're finished, we're finished." We're like, "No way, are you finished? We're out standing there for 3-4 hours. You can take us now." So she found out that we were flying out on Sunday. She was okay. We'll do you. We'll do you. I was like, you think I will do us? Do you know? Uh,
Yeah,
so we nearly didn't get the test. Do you know? So I was like, imagine if that happened, me trying to get ready for a fight, and then, but technically you can't get home. I was
that's
like,
crazy.
you know, look, it was an experience. I'll say that. An
Definitely.
experience I wouldn't want to happen again. Yeah.
Exactly, but you can take something from it. It's all character building, isn't
I
it?
might just really go over there, you know, like yourself, live there,
That's
fight
it,
there, be
man.
all right.
Exactly. Come over here. The scene is growing in Barcelona. It'd be grand. Um,
Well, you don't look like you get much of a colour. You're hiding inside, are you?
yeah, hiding inside here for the minute. But no, I don't tan that well, man. I don't tan that well. I'm only a little
No,
pasty white Irish boy. You know what I mean?
I
Um,
farmer tile like myself.
yeah, exactly. The arms are nice and tan. Do you know what I mean? um, you know, we were saying you were doing a bit with Pete Taylor there for maybe just over a year.
Yeah,
Of course, he's not in your corner. He wasn't in your corner at the weekend. I wonder if you can just talk us through
yeah,
like what your training situation is at the moment. Um, who's in your corner? Where are you based? And kind of, you don't have to go into too much detail, but it's interesting that you were doing a bit with
yeah,
Pete, who's obviously a very good coach, but
yeah.
you've seemed to have broken away from Pete at
Exceptional
the
goal.
moment. So do you want to just
Yeah,
talk us through a little bit about that situation?
yeah. Well, after I lost my fight, well, a year and 11 months ago to Eddie's Racy, Frick would have been my old amateur coach. So Frick got in contact with me after, and he's just like, look, Owen, you know, let's meet up, let's catch up for coffee. And caught up for coffee. And like, I knew myself that I was doing myself no favors taking all these fights on that I was doing. Like that year, I think I lost. I lost 2 and I won 2 fights that year. I could have lost. No, I definitely lost 2 in here and I won 1 or won 2 fights.
Yeah.
But like I was taking all these fights, you know, that I technically believe that I feel I'm technically better than. But, you know, obviously training a bad habit, you can't expect yourself to just turn up on the fight day and just perform it properly. Like, so, like throwing the jab hand and dropping the hand, bringing it back to you, and not bringing it back to your face and not moving the head. That's what caught me out in that fight against Eddie. So, you know, I'm extremely stubborn and extremely disciplined and relentless in that. Like, if someone told me the secret to your success, Owen, is train twice a day, I'll train 3-4 times a day. You know, so that was never a problem. So I was taking these fights without a full-time coach. I was like, you know what, I'll just put in the extra sessions. But I was putting in the wrong technique, the wrong forms, doing these training sessions over time, which was gonna obviously turn out to be the way down the fight line. So met up with Frick. Frick's like, look, on you probably would have had hands down one of the best footwork around when you're in the amateurs. He says, literally, if I'm being honest with you, he goes, watching each of your pro fights, your footwork and that's getting worse. He said it's so obvious that you're not being trained full time. So with Frick and then a good friend of mine, Stevie Collins Jr., they thankfully got me in with Pete for a while. And Pete was happy to take me on. And I could have been with Pete definitely over a year anyway. And like I learned so much. The man's an absolute genius. But my mom got sick then January last year. She got bad news very quick and she passed away 6 weeks later. But
I'm very
you
sorry
know,
to hear about
everything,
that.
a lot of stuff happened so quick and fast. I don't know, man. I decided to move home then full time because my little brother was living in the home house and do you know, like, as much as he was actually all right with it, I'd say I dealt with it worse than he did. But you know, living in a home house on your own, he's a house full of memories. I was like, it's the memories, it's the Mother's Days, it's the event days. That's what's going to get you the most. So I was like, I wouldn't be able to live in Dublin comfortably knowing that he's at home on his own, you know. So especially after that bit, when I knew mom was getting really sick, I was like, you know, I kind of need to make a decision here now. So I was chatting with Frick a good bit. Frick, thankfully, was willing to take me on full time, which is what I needed. So I'm back home now, back home in Big Smoky Cabin, training with Frick in Carmel Cross in Monaghan, and then I'm up here in Dublin in Cabra 3 times a week for SSC. So
excellent, brilliant. And how's it been going with Frick? I mean, is there anything, you know, obviously you were saying that he was talking about your footwork and stuff. So when you went back to Frick, was there like specific technical points that he wanted to work on? And how has that relationship kind of further blossomed since you went back? Have you noticed the improvements? Have you been hitting certain points and kind of going, right, we need to work on this and achieving those kind of mini goals of improvement? Or how has it been?
Mini wins, No, definitely. Like, see, I'm quite lucky in that when I started off boxing, it was Frick that got me into boxing, and Frick I would have spent most of my amateur career with. And it was Frick that I won the Ulster title, the All Ireland title, the Ringside World Championships in Kansas City, and the Celtic Box Cup. I won all them with Frick. Class. So Frick knew I had experience with me and knows what works for me. You know, so whenever I landed back to Frick, I think for 2 months we just worked on 1-2 until I started like jabbing, slipping the head as a jab, bringing the hand back to my face, and then bringing my back foot in on the backhand, retreating and going back to the basics. I think we did that for about easily 6 weeks. It was so frustrating because I spent so long doing it wrong that like Frick's like, nope, do it again. Nope, do it again. It got to a point, right, where like, okay, I'll be there flowing, doing the 1-2 perfectly. And then next thing, the left hand, I'll throw the back and then come down in front of me. And Frick goes, right, hang on a second. And I was like, what are you doing? He's off getting tape, right? I was like, what are you doing with the tape? Put your hand in your face now. So I was like, damn, my box stands this. He went just for a laugh, like, and taped the whole head around with the hand. He goes, now don't drop your hand. But no,
Very
I
good.
you know I'm lucky in that I get on very well with Frick, and like I fully believe in his philosophy of boxing and how the game works and footwork, and
Yeah.
so we're very much on the same page. So I think it's very important to have full trust in your coach, because then you don't like that. You don't have to stress about it, and you can just leave your full trust in them
Yeah.
and just do what you're told, kind of thing.
100%. Well, that's it. It's trust is like the most important thing with a coach, isn't it? If you don't trust
Yeah,
them, you won't. It's hard to listen to them, isn't it?
yeah, exactly.
Um,
Mm,
you're obviously working alongside training, being a full time boxer. But as you were
yeah,
saying to me, as seemingly a good few other guys do as well, you doing a bit of personal
yeah,
training, etc., which seems to work
yeah,
really well with kind of alongside
mm,
being a professional boxer because you can kind of schedule your
yeah,
day as I suppose as you need it to look. Talk to me about the
yeah.
kind of the balance of being a I suppose working and being a full time boxer. How do you balance it, and how what are some of the maybe mental difficulties or psychological difficulties of
Yeah.
trying to kind of balance the two?
Yeah, like like in my last interview I got asked, it's like people say like to me, oh, J-Zone, like, that it couldn't be easy, but I really do love what I do. And to be able to be training full time as a professional boxer, like to do the professional boxing properly, it is a full time job of its own. So then to financially support that, you need to be working full time with something else as well. So
Yeah,
literally, like your days is a 9 to 5. Like my morning start, like this morning, I was up at 5:30. So like I'm up at 5:30. I think it's very important that you set your head in the right mind frame. So I've got a little morning routine. Takes me anything from half an hour to 40 minutes. Um, get my food, fuel the body properly, and then I take on my day. So start personal training. It could be 6:30, 7 o'clock. I spend the early morning times doing my personal training. Then, for example, I had Frick there this morning, and then literally went home, put a wash on, got some food, and then straight out the door. And I'm here in Cabra now, and I've got training now at 1 o'clock
excellent.
for S&C, and then I have to go straight back home, get my next meal into me. So like you have to be with this game. You have to be very disciplined. You kind of have to. Everything has to be scheduled and rostered ahead. Like if I'm not training, I'm doing washes. If I'm not doing washes, I'm filling the dishwasher and eating meals or meal prepping.
Yeah, I get you.
So
Always something to be doing.
like no, yeah, like it's it can be difficult if you make it difficult. But if you put a bit of effort in, so every Sunday to me is my Sunday wind down, or I prep for the week ahead. So to me, my Sundays is very important that in I can sit down, roster my whole week ahead. So I literally know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Because my days are so like I PT in the mornings, I do my two sessions during the day. I come home, I might have another PT session, and then I've got class all evening. Then
yeah,
I come home and you know every 3 days I'm prepping meals, doing the dishwasher, cleaning around, the little nibbles and pieces, and it's all go go go. But like I don't mind that at all. I love the element of helping people, like not from like the physical change aspect, but I love seeing someone that's coming into you real self-conscious, the body posture's all like reserved and protecting themselves, and then next
mm,
thing they're coming in with big baggy clothes on a sunny day like today. And then next thing in 3 4 weeks time, the waist coming down, they're flying. Next thing the lad there with fucking hot pants on or a belly top or something, or the hair done or something small. And I just think you just have to take the piss out of them straight away. But I love seeing that. I just love seeing that change in them mentally.
yeah.
Them coming in with the chest out, they're proud and they're happy, and they're coming in with new leggings, and you had baggy trousers on for 4 weeks. I love seeing that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Real feel
but
good
then
factor, isn't it?
it can be tough. Yeah, yeah. Um,
No.
Look, there is days I'm going to be very tired, so I have like a whoop watch as well.
Yeah,
Um, I think it's very good for me because it makes me just check in with myself. It records your sleep, your recovery. Like I don't know how accurate it is, but it's not even that it's super accurate or not, or if it's
yeah,
telling if it's 60 to 100% accurate. It's a nice little indicator for me to check in and be like, listen, on, you only got 5 hours sleep last night. You need to improve that today.
Yeah.
or you have to check in with your habits every day. What habits did you do yesterday? When did you have your last meal? How much sleep did you have? Did you have a nap? Did you take your supplements? How much water did you have? So them little check-ins, as much as I know it already, it's forcing me to check in with myself every single day,
Yeah.
which I think is essential for me to keep on track going forward because I live such a busy life,
Yeah, 100%. Well, definitely. I mean, if you're not monitoring when you're that busy, if you're not monitoring it and kind of checking in with yourself, then it'd
Yeah.
be easy to become
Oh,
run down or to kind of lose the run of yourself, wouldn't you? Because
yeah.
it's never
I've done
stopping.
I've
It's
done it in the
hectic.
past. Yeah,
You
I've
know.
learned the hard way. Like I wouldn't last 5 weeks doing it, and then I'd be off for a week, completely run down. And I was like, I'm not letting that happen again. So, that's why I started doing the daily check-ins and
100%.
even little things like carrying a journal every day.
100%. Yes, and it sounds like you're very organized. I could probably learn a thing or two from you. Um, to be able to like yeah, as I say, like organize, you have everything written down, so it's easy to be just mentally on
Yeah,
top of everything when you can kind of
yeah,
refer back to it and see it, and you can kind of it's very
yeah,
structured. One more thing on
yeah.
before I let you go, because obviously you do have to kind of shoot off. um
You're right.
what's the goal for you now? Obviously 5-2, couple of losses, maybe like you said, because maybe could have been prevented,
It's my own
not
fault.
with a full-time
Yeah,
trainer and stuff. And so you seem to be in a more of a kind of a solid mind frame and a better situation now. So
yeah.
what are your goals? How far do you want to go, and how far do you think you can go in the professional boxing game? And what are the more immediate goals in terms of titles, etc.?
Um, Look, take every step as it comes, but I think my best thing to do is just I can never stop learning, so improve every single day and get better. You can never know it all. Um, I believe with the right team, if you have full belief in yourself, like they say, the sky's the limit. But you can achieve anything you want if you fully believe in yourself. Like, who knows how far I can go? I can't tell the future, but I definitely plan on going as far as I can. But I think now, like, when I was starting off my pro career, like as confident as I tried to carry myself, there was definitely that little element of me in the back of my head being like, I need to sort this out, not having a full-time coach, because um, I know I'm only going to go backwards. I'm going to get caught out. No, I didn't think I'd get caught out with the 2 losses as soon as I did.
Mm.
And you know what? I'm delighted it did, because I'm delighted it happened at the beginning of my career, not when things were getting big, maybe, or something.
Yeah.
Um, but I definitely feel like I have the right people around me now. Like I've got Frick as my full-time coach, fully trust him. I've got a good team of lads, Leonard Gunning and Stephen Sharp and the boys. Got to know them a bit more in Alicante, and between the two, instead of me having to focus on being the boss of everything and giving myself less things to stress about, I'm just going to focus on maintaining being skinny, don't put on a load of weight, train hard, train relentlessly, train consistently, and just look after myself mentally and physically. And then it's up to the boys. Then what's the next best move for me? But um, we'll see where it goes. I want to go the whole way.
Yeah,
The
definitely,
whole
man.
way.
I like
Go as
it.
far as I can.
100%, step by step, and
Thanks, man.
go as far as it can. Take it as far as you can
Yeah,
go. 100%. Well, look,
yeah,
I'm not going to take up any more of your time because you're already running late now. Owen Duffy, thank
yeah.
you so much for talking to Green Blood Boxing and to myself,
No
of course.
problem.
And I hope to catch up
Thanks,
to
Sam.
you again. In the near
We
future,
will. We will.
definitely.
Yeah,
Have a
yeah,
great
yeah.
day,
With a
man.
better time.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
I
Good luck,
promise you, I'll
man.
have a better time. Go on, good man, on. Thanks very much.
Good luck.
Appreciate it, bud. Thank you.